Hey guys. Hey guys, hello. Welcome back to JR14. And here I am with another video that's a sad video. Um, it's a video I never expected to make. It's a video that I never expected would happen to me, but it definitely has happened to me. So, what I want to do really quickly is I want to talk to you guys about exactly what happened. I want to talk to you guys about what happened, how it happened, what do I plan to do, and what is going to happen with the channel in the long run. Before I get started, I want you guys to give this video a thumbs up. Trust me, I'm going to need the thumbs up today. Trust me, I'm going to need the thumbs up, as many as possible, because this is a very expensive uh, it's a very expensive time in my life. And this is not to always just talk about me. It's about the car, and um, the car is not here right now. And the reason why is because Project Mark 7 died. It's dead. Um, so the Mark 7 platform, I'm sure if you've seen me on Instagram, if you watched my live on Instagram yesterday, um, you would have known that uh, Project Mark 7 is dead. The engine is blown. The engine is completely done. It's cooked. It's finished. It's toast. It's no longer. Um, Now, what happened? Oh yeah. If you saw me on Sunday night on near the Throgs Neck Bridge on the side of the road, it's because the car died. I couldn't drive it anymore. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about first what happened. What pretty much happened was shout out to a good friend of mine, or a subscriber actually. His name is Jason. He actually went ahead and hosted this cruise, this driving cruise in from forgot from where, from Jersey, from New Jersey to Catskills, New York, which is really far, but it was beautiful back roads. Project Mark 7 before I left. Midland Park, New Jersey to Catskills. So literally, I drove from my house. Calvin met me in my house. We ended up going to, he met me in my house. Before he got there, I checked oil, checked, just did my normal checks. Just make sure if I'm doing a drive like this, I want to make sure everything's good. Everything was fine. Everything was fantastic. The car was great. The car did everything it was supposed to do. It got us there. We met along. There's a lot of people who followed the channel, including Jason himself, which, I thank you guys in support, in support of that. And then we proceeded to do this cruise drive. Amazes me how you were kind of surprised by it. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to why it surprised me in a minute. So pretty much it was about 260 miles. Like Jason is actually in the live stream right now. I went on Instagram and said what happened, but I haven't done it for all the YouTube people. So I'm going to go ahead and, pretty much talk to you guys. So driving on these back roads, really putting the car, just driving it, enjoying it. Calvin really never got to experience the car after the Litco turbo and after the modifications have been done and the tuning was finished. It really wasn't, he really never got to experience it because he was always busy with school or work or both. So pretty much, that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. So pretty much with him, he just wanted to go ahead and go for the ride. And I said, yeah, no problem. I'm going to answer all questions after I explain what happened. So everyone, please start writing your questions in the comments and I'll scroll back to the beginning and answer them. This is going to be a pretty long live stream because there's a lot to talk about. So what ended up happening was that I was driving on these back roads. Car has been great. Car handled fantastic. Car was just beautiful. All these back corners, these back roads, hitting the speeds. It just did so well. It did so very well. Um, you know, it was just a great day. The car didn't skip a beat. It didn't throw any warning signs at me. The car just did flawless. So imagine Mark 7 how it normally Project Mark 7 how it normally is. That's how it was. and throughout the day just performed flawlessly. Uh, when the day was done, um, when pretty much when the day was done, me and a few other people, because we ended up getting lost. A lot of other people got lost, and they got to the last point. And What ended up happening was that, like, some people went home because they got lost, uh, and and pretty much things of that nature. It still kind of hurts a little bit, but the good thing is that I'm getting things in place for what I'm doing next, so I'm not as upset as I was on Sunday. So back to the story. We go eat. That was like at 3:20. The service there was terrible because of the fact that it took forever for our food to come, and then plus the smell, which was not the greatest either. But the car got about 3 hours of rest because around 6:30 we left. We paid the bill and we left. 6:30 comes around, start the car. The car just wanted some coolant. I'm like, all right. Mark sevens tend to burn coolant when, especially when you're driving them, in a spirited manner. So I'm like, all right, no problem. I just put some I put some distilled water in it now, and I put some distilled water in it now, just to get it home. And I was like, all right, cool, no problem. It was just low, and pretty much that's what ended up happening. So drove home. We stopped and we took pictures. The car was just idling. We took the pictures, and then we were on our way back home. Me and Calvin were on our way back home. Now it's like about 7 o'clock. It was about almost a 3 hour commute back home. So we would have arrived around my house, because his car was parked at my house, around 10 o'clock, 10:08. I was like, ooh, so perfect, so good. Um, so pretty much we started driving home, normal cruising, 65, 70 miles an hour, just cruising, just chilling home, vibing out, just having a good time, talking about the event, talking about the day. Just, Calvin was really astonished of how the car performed, and he was like, wow, I see why you love it so much. And I'm like, yeah, I do. It's a great car. It's been fantastic. It's reliable. This thing's amazing. Blah, 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 blah. So it's about a 147-mile commute from Catskills, New York to my front door. So about 120 miles in the trip, about 115 to 120 miles down, finished already. Commuted that far so far. The car did flawlessly, 33, 35 miles to the gallon, perfect. Until we had to slow down. Once we started to slow down, and I had to downshift. So I downshifted from, pretty much, I had to get off and exit, and there was some traffic, but not too much. It wasn't standstill, but it was enough to slow me down to like second gear. So I went from downshifted red match from fifth to fourth, fourth to third, third to second. When I went to second, I had an error message on my dashboard that said oil pressure low, stop engine immediately. I was like, that's weird. I didn't know anything of it. So what I did was, I'm like, okay, maybe there's something's wrong with the sensors, because the car's driving fine. The car's running fine. It sounds fine. Nothing's wrong with it. So what I did was, a lot of times what happens with GTIs, or just my Mark 7 in general, possibly happens with other cars. What I usually do is just recycle the key. Um, so I turned the car off while it's rolling, turned it back on, and the light went away. And the light never came back. So I continued to drive another 15 miles. Um, um, so far, there is just about we drive an additional 15 miles after that oil light came on. I recycled the key, turning the car off and turning it back on again, and the car was fine. I let it roll and idle a little bit in neutral before I started to proceed with the mileage, and it didn't come back on. So I was like, all right, so there must be some type of flaw in the sensor or something like that. Okay, no problem. So I proceeded to drive an additional 15 miles. When I get closer to the bridge, because we're coming from upstate New York, so meaning that we're probably at this point in the Bronx on the highway, and now it's around 9:40 at night. Because again, we're about 16 miles from my house, 15, 16 miles from my house. We're very close. Right before the Throgs Neck Bridge, or the Triborough Bridge, whatever it is, um, we I noticed that every time I upshift, the RPMs would just fall. Like there would normally be some type of rev hang to keep the RPMs up, but there wasn't any, and I noticed some weird shifting points. Calvin was like dozing off at the time because obviously it's getting a little late, and he was out all day with me, so I told him like, yo, go rest in the car, relax. I got it from here. I'm up. I love doing long distance drives, so no issue, no biggie, no harm, no foul. So what ended up happening was I woke him up because of the jerkiness of me shifting gears, and I'm like, why is the every time I put the clutch in, the RPMs automatically go to idle, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Then I was like, all right, well, let me see something. So I put the car in third and try to hit boost. Then I had another error message that said exceeded 4,000 RPM. I'm like, okay. Uh, I'm like, all right, well, that's weird. And then right after that happened, it car through an EPC light. So I was like, that's not good. So what did I do? I turned off the car, turned it back on again. The EPC light and the exceeded 4,000 RPM codes went away, but a check engine light appeared. And I'm like, okay, this isn't good. And then right after that check engine light came on, the oil pressure light came back on. So I'm like, all right. Then what I did was I recycled the key again. I'm in neutral, letting the car idle. This was from the center console. I don't ever run the Cobb anymore, just because I have a P3 gauge utilizing my OBD 2 port. So I don't run the access port or anything like that. But what pretty much happened was that those codes went away, and pretty much like I said, the check engine light came on, and then right after that it said oil pressure low, stop engine immediately. So I recycled the key. I put it in neutral so I wouldn't give it any more revs. I don't want to do any damage. Um, I just left it in neutral. The car was still running. I turned it off. I turned it back on again. Car started fine. Check engine light still came back, and I'm like, I'm waiting for the oil light, and then sure enough, the oil pressure light came immediately on the third time. So I'm like, right after I did it the first time. So I was like, okay. Um, I was like, okay. So I pulled over immediately, and as I'm pulling over to the shoulder, the car was like, boom, 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 and it died. Um, I'm getting to that. So yes, during the day of during the day of the whole day of driving on these back roads and stuff, I checked the oil level before I left the house, and I put an extra half a quart in, which emptied the bottle at that point. But I put an extra half a quart in when I stopped at a gas station. I was like, I'm just checking oil level. I'm like, you know what? It wouldn't hurt. Let me add about a half a quart in, because I saw it was, the little hash marks on the dipstick. It was right below that. So I'm like, all right, let me add more fluid in. And that was early in the day. That was like at 10 o'clock in the morning. So the car drove all day, and this is at night now. And I just drove 140 something miles back, and the car just dies on me. Not driving crazy at all. So I'm kind of like, what the heck is going on? So we pull over, the car dies, it won't start again. So before what I can think about what I have to do, Calvin's mentioning to me like, hey, it looks like the lights are really dimming quickly. So maybe all this is a battery issue, because Volkswagens tend to freak out when it's on low voltage. It's a common thing. I'm like, okay. I got a NOCO battery charge. It's actually over there on the floor. I gotta charge it because literally I'll get to that in a minute. Um, Put it on a charger, let the battery charge, and then as I'm waiting for the battery to charge, I'm checking the oil level. I'm like, okay. Oil level looks fine. We saw slight metal shavings. Like, I'm talking about slight, like barely seeing them. So I'm like, okay, that's engine has 97,000 miles. It's typical. So I'm like, it has actually no 97,000, not 80. Um, so I'm like, okay. I thought, and then I asked a couple people about that too previously, and it's like it's common. If it's nothing catastrophic, then don't worry about it. And I change my oil every 5,000 miles. I don't play with that. I don't play games with that. It's very, very serious, and are I make sure that people are aware that they should do maintenance every 5,000 miles on this car, because a lot of things can go wrong, like this. But back to the story. So I have another quart in the back seat, in the hatch. Put that in the car, not all of it, another half quart. And I'm like, okay, oil level's fine. There's no oil. Yes, it was the Rovo motor oil, but again, it has nothing to do with the oil. I'm going to get to what happened in a minute. Um, yes, it was Rovo motor oil I was using. No, it was not the cause of the fail. I mean, to get to it, it wasn't the cause of the failure. I'll explain everything in regards of the cause of the failure in a second. Um, well, don't be scared, Michael. Don't be scared, and I'll tell you why. Okay. So pretty much what ended up happening after that, I checked the oil level. The oil level's fine. So I get back in the car. I try to crank the car a couple times. It just didn't want to cut on. It sounded maybe like either the battery was dead or the car engine was seized. I don't know. But I'm looking underneath the car. There's no oil spilling out, so I didn't put a hole through the block. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. So everything's still intact. Whatever is inside the engine is intact. It's not. It didn't blow a rod or anything like that. So I'm like, okay. Um, I'm like, all right. So get back in the car, try to crank it a third time. I got it to turn on the third time, but it was just like, vroom, 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 vroom. It was just idling very badly. And then, kind of like the last breath of an engine, it just boom, 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 and it just died. It has nothing to do with the Cobb tune, guys. Don't bash Cobb. Don't bash don't bash, don't bash anybody until I tell you what it is. Um, through the loan by oil consumption issue. So pretty much after I figured that out, shout out to Charles, the humble mechanic. Me and him are good friends. I met him at Waterfest officially, and we have each other's numbers, and we correlate Volkswagen content back with each other in regards of questions and concerns. I try to call him on the phone. However, it's like around 10:30 at night. He's putting his kid to sleep. I understand that it's Sunday evening. No one is working and trying to deal with a car right now. People are at home with their families or going to bed, getting ready for the next workday week or the next work week. So I'm like, okay, cool. Um, um, so pretty much what ended up happening, I ended up going, pretty much long story short, Charles Mechanic said, well, you know what? Pretty much ended up happening. He's pretty much saying that, okay, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. What codes are you getting? So I have a scanner, my Cobb access port, and I have another scanner in the car. So I got two error codes, which was P0014 and P0017. Those codes correlate with camshaft position sensors and also advanced timing on the camshaft. Um, so I'm like, all right, so cool. That's not good. So he's saying, well, you're getting timing codes, and the car won't crank anymore. I said yes. He's like, okay. So he's pretty much saying now at this point, you looks like you just jumped timing. So I was like, okay, makes sense. The car had 97,000 miles on it. I never did a timing job on it because it was never in the service bulletins to do it. It didn't have Mark 7s do not have the same timing issues early Mark 6s. So we never really have to worry about that. So I call my dad. My dad comes and meets us, me and Calvin. Uh, I get my insurance company involved. The tow truck guy tows the car. He lied and said he's going to tow it to the shop. He ended up towing it just off the highway. So then I had to order another tow truck to get me from the Bronx to Long Island, where the car is currently right now. Um, I shout out to Gio from European Auto. He was pretty much saying that, oh, well, this, that, and the third, it seems like you just jumped timing. But it sounds bad because the car would normally start under timing sometimes if it jumped a lot. Do you hear any like chain slapping around? Like, no, it doesn't have sounded like any metallic noise on top. He's like, you might have seized the engine. Whatever caused it is probably seized the engine. So I was a little concerned at this point. So I tow the car up to the shop. I leave the car overnight. I proceed to go there early the next day. Obviously I have to work from home. Worked from home, got my stuff done, went out to the shop, and we tried to diagnose everything. Diagnosed everything, looked at, and you're gonna see this too on the channel because I filmed all of it. So you're gonna see this probably in the next couple of weeks, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So pretty much, anytime I tried to crank the car wouldn't hold a charge, so the battery was just shot. It was just done, and what ended up happening. We ended up doing an oil pressure test. We ended up doing a compression test. Now, the compression test was very interesting. These cars are, I believe, anywhere from 9 to 9.5 to 1 ratio from factory. It's a low compression engine because it's turbocharged, it's a boosted engine. So they should be making around 140 psi or more. Cylinder 1 made 55 psi. So we have low compression in cylinder 1. And then 2, 3, and 4 made 60 psi. Geo, the owner of European Auto in Oceanside, Long Island, was telling me, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If it did jump timing, which it shows parameters and signs that it did, the reasoning that you are getting consistent low pressure in all cylinders is because the valves are opening up when they're not supposed to be, so you're not getting full compression, which can cause the compression test to be inaccurate. So eventually, after like about an hour or two of diagnosing other issues, we got the car to start again, and it idled fine. It idled perfectly fine, like nothing went wrong with it. And then, as soon as the car went from the cold start cycle to like normal idle, it would just plummet in oil pressure. It started at, so normally oil pressure should be at 20 psi on idle, and when you rev it to about 3,000 RPM, it should be at about 45 psi. Um, Now, as the car started to idle, it was at 5 psi, and then I got no oil pressure at all. So we know that it's an issue internally. So pretty much, I went home. I came back. We put the car on the lift, and when I came back, they dropped the oil pan, and sure enough, there's nothing but metal shavings all inside the oil pan, and the thrust bearing is bent, scarred, and sitting inside the oil pan along with the oil was gray. It was metallic-y. It was just gray, and I just did the oil change 2,000 miles ago. So I had 95,000 miles, and the car had 97,000 miles on it. Um, so I was like, damn, okay. Now, we found out what the issue was. And the issue is an issue called crank walk. Now, crank walk is very common on early Eclipse DSM cars. Now, what crank walk is think of the crankshaft. You have the rods spinning on those with the rod bearings, and the pistons move up and down. That crankshaft should just move in a circular rotation in revolutions, and that's how you get RPMs. This was moving side to side every time I pressed the clutch pedal in, so it's putting stress on the thrust bearings, which eventually one of them failed, which disintegrated everything. Now, what caused crank walk? Now, if you look that up, the first thing, now I want to clarify this. A lot of people are going to say, oh, it's the clutch you're running. It's not the clutch I'm running, and I'll tell you why. Volkswagen Mark 7s they're not commonly known, but there's a lot of cases. There's a few cases online. If you search crank walk Mark 7 GTI, the first thing you're going to see is the DKM clutch caused it. So um, pretty much it was not the clutch's fault at all. Mark Sevens are known for this, especially in the earlier build series, the earlier build years. So, for instance, a 2015 would have a build year of 2014. A 2016 would have a build year of 2015, and a 2017 would have a build year of 2016. I bought my car in September 2016. It was built in August of 2016, but it was a 2017 model year. Now, what caused that to fail? Some Volkswagen EA8 EA888 engines had a common manufacturer defect of a weak point in the block, which were the thrust bearings. The thrust bearings hold the crankshaft and put pressure on the crankshaft to keep it locked in so it won't sway from side to side when you push a throwout bearing into a pressure plate and pushing a clutch into a flywheel to get the engine to rotate, to get the wheels to rotate with the transmission. Um, Now, I've looked at cases with this car. There was one that had 10,000 miles on it with the stock clutch. There was another one that had a Sax clutch in it, upgraded Sax clutch, that had about 50 something thousand miles on it. My car with a DKM had 97,000 miles on it. There was another car that had a South Bend that had 80 something thousand miles on it. So it's like this. It's pretty common from the 2014 and then very very rare in the 2016 model years. I mean, in regards of built years. I'm sorry. So unfortunately, it seems as if I was one of the unlucky ones. Now, unfortunately, I cannot go to Volkswagen with this issue because of the fact one, it has 97,000 miles. So my powertrain warranty ended 37,000 miles ago. It's only on the manual cars, by the way. DSG vehicles are not affected by this. Um, so you don't have, literally every single Crankwalk Mark 7 GTI case I've seen has been a manual. Um, uh, No, crank walk does not result in just too much power. It just results in an issue in regards of um, just the weak point of the engine. Uh, it's possibly I don't know what it is. It's possibly the way they designed the thrust bearings, or maybe the material is weak. But that was the end. That was the weak point of that. So what ended up happening was that broke, which caused metal shavings to get caught up and sucked into the oil sump tube, which eventually clogged the pump, which starved the engine. So, in a nutshell, that's how all the stuff happened. Now, like I said, what caused crank walk? The most things that I can determine and what other people have determined is that it's a manufacturer defect from factory, um, from a 2015 to an early 2016 car, meaning a build year car, not a model year car. A model year meaning my car is a 2017 Volkswagen GTI, but it was built the year before, which was in 2016. So I've seen all cases of this. I've seen a lot of cases of it online, so you could do your research on there. Um, yeah, I know I'm in New York too. It's pouring out here, so but um, what? So now we spoke about what happened. I gave you a whole almost 30-minute story about what happened. Sorry it took so long, but that I just need to get all this information to you so you're aware. Now, what were my options of what to do? And I had three different options. Option one, get rid of the car, dump it, take my losses, buy a Golf R. Um, Now, there's issues with that. I can't trade in that car with an engine that doesn't run. So I still have to buy a BS motor to put into it, pay the labor to put that engine in, um, and get it, and get it running well enough so that Volkswagen doesn't know about it, and then trade it in a week later, take my losses, and get a Golf R. Here's the issue with that. Now, a used engine with 40, 50,000 miles on it is um, is about $2,000 to $3,000. So let's just say 3 grand, right? My car with 97,000 miles on it, if this engine didn't go, Auto House doesn't have any. I actually called them today. They only have cylinder heads, not the block. The blocks are not good. They don't have any Mark 7 blocks at all. I checked. Um, so it would cost about $3,000 for the engine, right? 2 to 3 grand for the engine. So let's just say worst case scenario, $3,000. Now, um, so we did that. Now, after we did that, after we would do that, we would trade in the car. The car wouldn't fine. I would probably have to pay maybe like $1,000 to $2,000 in labor. It's an engine swap. So now we're at 5 grand. Now, if a GTI right now on KBB, if you traded it in to a dealer with 97,000 miles to the 2017 manual Volkswagen SE GTI, only sells for trade-in value is $9,800 to $10,000. So let's just say if they offered me 11, right? I owe 15 on the car or 16 on the car. So now that's another 4 to 5 grand that I would have to put into getting out of the car, or pay whatever this is, and then pay whatever it is to fix the car, and then take that 5 grand and put it into the put it into the, the payments of the next car. Here's the big issue with that. So technically, it's going to cost me $9,000 to switch into a Golf R. Here's the problem with that. Golf Rs right now are going for around $40,000. So now, add the $5,000 of depreciation to depreciation into the next car. So now we're at a $45,000 car. Add sales tax to it. Now we're at a $48,000 car. 48 grand for a Golf R. Not happening. My payments would be $800 to $900 a month for 5 years. That makes no sense. That would make no sense. That wouldn't leave me money to, save, or to put money towards a home, or to even get more content to you guys. It wouldn't physically make sense to buy a Golf R. And I would love to buy a Golf R on this channel. I know I can get into a C7 for like 30, 35,000, but again, that's like buying a GTI. And again, that $5,000 depreciation, I still owe the bank 15 grand. They want 15 grand. I can't find a certified pre-owned Golf R because they still want 35,000 for a used Golf R. I checked that too. If you see one for 32,000, okay, 32,000. Put that $5,000 negative equity into the loan. That's still 37 grand. Add the tax. That's still 41,000. So we're still talking about a payment of $700 a month. Makes no sense. Option 2. Just Jay, you know that this car was pretty much reliable for 100,000 miles for 3 years. Why don't you just buy another used engine and just put all your mods to it? Granted, right. And I would do that for content. And, it'd be great. But the problem with that is I don't know what any other engine has been involved in. I don't know if the other previous person has taken care of that engine. I don't know how long that engine has been sitting. I don't know the conditions. I don't know if they took care of it. I don't know the service record of that engine. So it wouldn't make sense for me to pay $2,000 to $3,000 for a used engine to put into a car and put all my parts on it. And now I don't have a reliable Volkswagen because the previous owner didn't take care of it like I took care of my engine in the beginning and currently all the way to the end. So that wouldn't make sense. Option 3 would be would pretty much just be build the current engine, take it completely apart, put it in a hot tank, clean all the metal bits out, send it out, machine everything up, polish everything up. If there's anything damaged, replace it, and build a brand new engine, and not a stock engine. Build a built engine that can handle a lot more power. Before I tell you what I'm going to do, I need you guys to give this video a thumbs up. I need you guys to go ahead, give it a thumbs up, because I'm about to let you guys know right now. There's 85 people watching this right now, which is a huge thing for live for me. I need everyone. There's 85 people. There's only, there we go, 23. I'll tell you real quick if you get me to 30 real quick. 28. Two more thumbs up. Just 2 more. 32. Perfect. I don't want y'all to stop though. I'm going to tell you right now, but don't stop. Keep giving me thumbs up. Perfect. Now, this is the plan of what we're going to do with Project Mark 7. You guys deserve it. You guys have definitely earned it. You guys have definitely deserved and supported me throughout this entire build. And this car has just been fantastic to you guys. You guys have been inspired by it. I've been inspired to show content on you based on this car. And I'm not going to let it die out like that. So I am going to rebuild the engine. I am going to build its internals. I am going to build and get everything together. And we're going to have a much more reliable, built, strong platform for this Project Mark 7. And I'm going to tell you why. I rather owe 3 more years on a car and then eventually pay it off rather than put myself in another 6-year loan, pay $300 more a month for a car and I can't produce good content for you guys. Here's how it's going to benefit you. You guys wanted it on Instagram and you guys are going to get it. You're going to get a full build rebuild series on my channel. I'm talking about everything from the new engine, everything from the tearing down or taking the engine out of the car, polishing the heads, rebuilding the head itself. The IE short block is what we're going to go with. And you're going to see it all. We're going to tear down the old engine, see what failed, and you guys are going to, I'm going to provide you with so much more content. It's not even going to be funny. And you guys, I hope that you guys appreciate it because I believe that you guys will really well appreciate it. And you guys are really showing your support now, and I love it. I appreciate it. You guys viewing this video right now and showing the love on Instagram. I 100% love you guys for it, and I appreciate it. And I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my power to make sure that this content is crisp, full of quality, fully informational, and we got a few partners on this. I already ordered some. I'm going to be ordering some parts. ShopDAP is a major part of this build. Integrated engineering, a very important part of this build. I'm still confirming with a couple of other people. We actually might not even do Litco L450 anymore. I'm thinking about, since we're doing the bottom end, we're definitely going to be upgrading the turbo to an L500 this time. DKM supporting the build. We're going to hopefully get Racing Line to get some extra protection on the oil cooling on this platform. I'm letting you guys know right now, I'm going to make sure that I give you all this cool content, and I'm going to make sure that you guys know it has nothing to do with the turbo. It has nothing to do with the oil I'm using. It has nothing to do with the clutch that I'm using. These three components have nothing to do with any of the reasons why it failed. And I need to prove that to you guys right now. And that's what I'm going to do with this build. The Litco L400 did exactly what it was supposed to do. I limit the torque on purpose because I didn't want to blow a rod through the block. And I didn't throw a rod through the block. It was thrust bearings that are a common weak point on these platforms, and it failed on my car. That's just the name of the game. I want to show you guys, it's never been done before on the state of YouTube as far as an engine build, and I want to make sure that I fully give you that content. I need to make it bigger, better, faster, even more reliable than what it was. And I'm not even upset at the car that it lasted 3 years for 97,000 miles. That is an average of almost 32,000 miles. Or actually, it is 32,000 miles a year of me driving, daily driving it, auto-crossing it, long distance driving it to Georgia and Canada and other states, tracking the crap out of it, Lime Rock, Bureaucracy, all this other stuff. And the car's done nothing but giving me good faith, and the car's done nothing but give me good happiness and joy for this platform. So, like I said, ShopDAP, major supporter of this build. I talked to Paul today in regards of what I need. And I'm not talking about as far as the funding. I'm paying for it. So I'm not asking to do a GoFundMe. If you guys do want to donate, I'll be more than happy to accept, but I'm not asking you for it. I'm not asking you to donate. If you choose to donate, you could donate as a super chat in here. That's perfectly fine. I'm not asking for it. I'm not creating a GoFundMe account. We're going to talk about the cost of everything during the build series. I don't want to spoil it right now. I need to let you guys know. I know you guys have been waiting to figure out what the information was. The polls were very close on Instagram. I believe the last time I checked, it was 54% of the people wanted to see a build, an engine rebuild, and the other 44% or the 46% wanted to see me purchase a Golf R. Financially, it does not make sense for me to purchase a Golf R, and I'm still going to stand by that. Right now, it's going to hold, that block's going to be able to hold 500 plus horsepower, which is more than enough. I'm going to be able to, it's not the, it's, it's the thrust bearing. It's a common issue. The L450 did nothing but great things for this platform. And the car died when it was off of boost. It didn't die on boost. So it's not the cause of the car at all. And I'm going to make sure I refresh everything. The car is going to get a fresh new water pump with a thermostat and housing. It's going to get new oil sensors. It's going to get the heads polished, ported and polished and rebuilt. It's going to get a whole brand new bottom end, brand new oil pump with pickup. Um, you know, it's just we're doing everything to make sure that this build is everything and nothing short of less than perfection. I have Geo and the whole team over there at European Auto, which where the car is currently located, and that is who's going to help me with this build. We already talked about everything about how we're going to do everything. They're allowing me to film everything for you guys. And Gio's a personal friend of mine. So my blessings and shout out and thank you guys over there at European Auto. Thank you, Shop Dep, for sending the time out to write the list down of everything that I would possibly need because this is new territory for me. And I'm going to learn along with you guys on this platform. And it's going to be a lot of content. Week after week after week, you're going to get content of new stuff happening with it. Cold starts. I'm not cold starts. Break-in periods. Pretty much like if you guys watch the YouTube channel, it's just a six. That Coyote engine that he just put in, something similar like that to my Mark 7. We're not playing games. I'm not joking around. It has nothing to do with the tune. I told you what the fault was. It has nothing to do with the tune I'm using, the turbo I'm using, the clutch I'm using, the oil I'm using. Has nothing to do with any of the parameters of the aftermarket support on this car. So I don't want you to get scared and say that, oh, well, I'm scared to mod the car now because JR14 had this issue and his engine blew. Has nothing to do with that. People can run L450 or DV2s or IS38 kits on their cars all day with no issues at all. So I don't want you to think that this is an issue because it's not. It can happen with a stock clutch. The only difference with an aftermarket clutch is that it's a stronger clutch, so it does the same thing but quicker. That is literally the only thing of the difference. So I need you guys to know that is what we decided to do on this channel. That's what I decided to do with this platform. I feel as if you guys will really appreciate not all the good, but you appreciate the bad in this case. There's going to be a lot of negatives with this. It's going to be expensive to fix, but it's going to cost anywhere near as much as it's going to cost me in the next 6 years of owning a Golf R that I can't afford mods on because I'm paying an $800. I would be paying an $800 or $900 note for the car note, not even the insurance. So, can't install a wave track diff because I have an electronic differential. You can't switch those out. I already figured out a laundry list of the parts that I'm going to need. A lot of the stuff's going to be OEM in regards of the heads, but I'm not going to talk too much into that. I want to let you guys know that that is what we plan to do. We already got in contact with Integrated Engineering. We already got in contact with ShopDAP. So they're expecting big orders of parts in the very in a matter of days. And you're going to get everything from when we tear down the whole front end of this car to get the engine out. You're going to see everything from tearing down the engine itself. You're going to see everything from the new block, getting new head, getting rebuilt and everything. I'm going to try to show you as much content as humanly possible so that this way you guys can have believe in me and trust and show my platform. And this, that, and the third. I really want to show you guys this. I believe you guys deserve it. You guys have definitely pushed me up to almost 12,000 subscribers. And now that's currently what I'm doing. Shout out to my mom because I'm borrowing her car. She doesn't drive a lot, so I usually would drive her car to and from work. Thank God my job understands the situation, so I can work from home whenever I don't have a car. So, you know, I'm good all the way around. So I want to let you guys know that is what I plan to do, and that is what is going to happen. I am most likely going to be purchasing a daily. Um, I don't know as of yet. Like I said, I just want to get this car fixed first. It's going to cost me some money to fix it, and I'd rather just try to hurry up and get it fixed, and then I can go ahead and probably buy. I was either looking at maybe like a 1995 Lexus SC300. I was also, or SC400. I was also looking at maybe like a E39 BMW 528. I don't want to lease a car because I drive too much. So I don't want to lease a car. I want to get like a small beater that's going to cost me about three, maybe 4 grand, and I can beat the crap out of it and not have to worry about anything. And then maybe that could be some good content for you guys as well. You know, maybe if I buy an E39 528 BMW 5 Series, that maybe you guys, you know, will do about, you know, restoration, you know, restoring, you know, suspension and not making it a track car, but just making it nice and clean and reliable for daily. Making it, you know, updating some of the features in the car, like maybe adding a new head unit with Apple CarPlay to make it more modern. Maybe doing a facelift on the car, things of that nature. Maybe an Audi Q5 if I find one for very cheap. Not gonna happen with a Golf R. I'm not gonna spend money on a Golf R while I have a GTI. Remember, I'm still paying 3 more years on this car. Um, I may get an E36. Who knows? I can find those dirt cheap all day, every day with a very reliable platform, and I can drive that car to the ground. So you might see all of this on the channel very soon. But I want to let everybody know what they can look forward to very, very soon. If I get an E36, it's not going to be an automatic. Unfortunately, it's not going to be an automatic. It's going to be a manual. You know, kind of want to do a build series on it. But I want to let everybody know that that is what is going to happen. I appreciate everybody, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, the companies that I've worked with. And it leads me to feel more confident stepping into this major rehaul of this car. Yes, someone mentioned that I seem pretty calm about it. I am because I was distraught on Sunday. You couldn't talk to me on Sunday. I was just over it. I didn't know what to do. It was going to be dumb expensive. Once I figured out where I can put my eggs in which basket, and then I can figure out what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, who I was going to do it with, and figure everything out on that level. So that is what I decided to do. That is the most cost-effective way and the most efficient way to get this build going, and to also you guys to benefit on the most content. I'm not going to let Project Mark 7 go out to that like that. I've had too many memories in it. Too many people recognize me from the car. I love the car. The car's never let me down until today, and it only let me down today because it was time. It was time. Cars can't live forever. Um, it's not necessarily a lesson going forward. There is no lesson that I've learned because I've done everything correctly. It's an engine. An engine will fail early. An engine will fail in its midlife. Like an engine can last 250,000 miles. An engine can last 100,000 miles. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You can't really take what a lesson I've learned. I've done every maintenance or service interval on that car. I've made sure that I did pre-checks on before I did road trips. I made sure that I put tires on the car when it need tires. Anytime fluid needed to be changed, anytime that car ever asked for oil or coolant, I did not hesitate. I did not continue to drive the car if something was wrong. I changed my timing belt, or not my timing. I changed my serpentine belt at 70,000 miles. It started to shred again, so I replaced it just recently, like about 5,000 miles ago. So I literally keep up with this car in regards of maintenance. My girlfriend and my family, my friends can tell you when it comes down to something going wrong with this car, I drop everything to make sure that car runs and runs right because it's my only car, and I serve that car right because it serves me right. So that car, um, pretty much uh, pretty much that's what's going to happen with the channel. That's what happened to Project Mark 7. The choices that I was going to think of what I was going to do with it, and I just told you exactly how I'm going to go forward with this build on the channel. Um, so now I want you guys to ask questions, and I want you guys to be engaged. It's 48 minutes. Once we hit that 60-minute mark, we're going to call it end for the day. Now, before we start with the questions, whoever just joined in or has not given this video a thumbs up, please continue to give this video a thumbs up. We're at 65 people, right? I mean, we're at 62 people watching. We got 65 thumbs up, but I know some of you guys are new watching this, so give it a video a thumbs up. I don't see that number going up. Give that video a thumbs up before I start answering questions, at least a couple. So, you know, so there we go. I want to, come on, 66. Let's keep it going. Whoever didn't give the video thumbs up, again, this is going to get more people watching the video. And again, I want more people to be aware of common issues on this engine block and what we plan to do to fix it and make it better. So I'm scrolling all the way back to the beginning, and I'm going to go ahead and read some of these comments. Ava and Gregory were going a little bit at it a little bit. The heads are the weak point of the Mark 7. Actually, they're really not. I never heard a really lot of I haven't heard of a lot of issues regarding the heads of the car. You know, it's definitely not a weak point on the car. The weak point is actually the bottom end. Um, and believe it or not, I mean, this car did hold, things of that nature. Oh, before I get to the comments, now you're gonna guys gonna wonder what's gonna happen with content. I already have about maybe 3 or 4 videos that I pre-filmed before this incident happened. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's your video for today. You're getting another video on Friday next week, I'm probably going to make that Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. No, that's too late. I'm actually going to do Friday as soon as you get back home from work. As soon as work is over, which is 5 p.m., you're going to have a video. So you're going to get a video on what this today, which is the live stream, and you're going to get a video. On this Friday at 5 p.m. Next week, you're going to get a video on Wednesday, 7 p.m., and you're going to get another video on Friday at 5 p.m. You're getting 4 videos. So this week and next week, you're getting 2 videos, which is abnormal for me. Usually I do a video a week, but you guys are getting 2 videos this week, 2 videos next week, because I want to hurry up and get into this build series, get it filmed so I can go ahead and continue putting 1 video out a week of this build series. And that's what you're going to see consistently after these other videos come out. So then things of that nature. So we have 9 minutes left. I'm going to answer these questions pretty quickly in here. Again, like I said, I'm not going to do a GoFundMe. That's not what this is about. However, I'm definitely going to mention it. If you guys feel like you want to support it and, donate, I respect it if you do. I respect it if you don't. I'm not asking you for it, but if you want to do it, I'm going to accept it. And it will be contributed to the build. Also, merch is coming out very soon. I've been pretty occupied with this engine situation this week, but I am finalizing on the designs on the shirts, the hoodies, and everything else. So stay tuned for that. Yes, the car is at the shop right now. The car is undrivable. The shop is going to be doing the repair. However, I'm going to be filming everything and giving you information on it. So it should be pretty easy for me to give you a lot of content. Let me scroll back down. I'm going to scroll back to the very beginning and hurry up so I can... Wow, you guys really commented a lot, man. That's what I like to see. I really love to see that. Wow, I can't even... It's so many comments, I can't even... Okay, yeah, filled up 4 months prior. 80,000 miles in the... No. Let's see. The big turbo. I was going to ask you because G3, yes. And the only reason why that oil consumption was because metal shavings got clogged up the oil sump pickup tube. Yes. Now, Michael, you mentioned to me, yes, I wanted to get a hybrid IS-38, but I don't know which to look at for reliability. Pretty much you can run the one that I'm running, which is a Lico L450 turbo kit. I am most likely going to try to upgrade it to an L500 kit. Now I can make the power. I am upgrading fuel now too. So now we're going to be running a better fuel pumps, and also, things of that nature. No, I'm not towing it to North Carolina because that would be way too much money for me to tow it all the way to another state. And I already got everything in line to what we're going to do. But ShopTap is going to be a major supporter of this build. Michael, I would not suggest that I wouldn't say that you have to worry about anything with Lico. And you won't have anything to worry about. So just be aware of that. Let's see, maybe it could be water bent head. No, the heads are not bent because it wasn't making any valve tapping noises. It's not hitting the pistons at all. The heads did not come in contact with the pistons at all. I know that from based on hearing it. So we don't ever have to really worry about that. Also, it's all pretty much the bottom end, which caused, oil consumption issues. Let's see. Sorry to hear that you're having issues. Thank you for the support, guys. I'm trying to read these questions really quickly. We're at 54 minutes. I explained what crank walk is. If you guys didn't see it, wait till the video gets public, and then you will see the whole thing. I wonder if the DSG setup. The DSGs do not have the same issue. It's just manual transmission cars. Crank walk has nothing to do really with the power. It's just how much the thrust bearings can take in regards of not power wise, but just longevity. Um, let's see. Let's see. Now I'm curious about my. Just got here. What happened? This is bad luck, man. Sorry to hear it. Take one day away. You know, oil pressure warning light. Take one away. Don't mess around with low oil pressure warning lights. Do not cycle the key with an oil pressure light. Yeah, you know. But again, like I said, it's weird because it didn't come back on for 15 miles. So I'm thinking, you know, because the battery did have low voltage. So I'm thinking it's just a battery issue, you know. Let's see. How much would it cost the total repair? I'm going to get into that more into the build series. So you guys, pretty much towards the end of the build series when the car's up and running, I will definitely do that and let you guys know everything of what everything costs to do this engine rebuild. Um, Thrust, like Josh said it perfectly. Thrust bearings are intended to take axle loads. Like he said, when the clutch engages the flywheel and presses towards the engine, placing a load towards the crankshaft. Let's see. So that's pretty much what ended up happening. Again, it's not the clutch fault. There are no aftermarket thrust bearings, unfortunately. All I can do is just repair the engine by rebuilding a better one. And then even so, I had that DKM clutch in the car for around 50,000 miles. So literally whatever the issue was just started towards the end of its life. So it definitely lasted a while. I would have loved to do a 2.5 turbo swap from a TTRS or a RS3, but they want $20,000 for the engine. I've looked already, and it's not worth it. Carvina will not accept my car trade. I actually called them up first because they would be able to pick up the car from my house, order from the shop, and I'll be able to do all the paperwork and transfer everything to the bank. But unfortunately, they will not accept the trade. That's what they did tell me because the car's not running. I'm not getting a Prius. Absolutely freaking not. A C7, C7s aren't bad, but I don't live in a climate where I could drive that all year round. S6, maintenance issues. No, not maintenance issues. It's just everything's more expensive for that car. F10 M5, I'm not even going to even do anything regarding that car. I don't make enough for that car to, you know, to make sure, you know, to do that. Let's just see what else. We got 57 minutes. So BMP makes a built motor for 5K. You know, but actually the IE block is pretty cheaper. Christopher King, Golf R's are selling for 2,500 to 3,500 off. Correct. Right. But you got to understand too. So okay, let's just say the Golf R's 42,000. So we're still looking at a $38,000 car with that $5,000 increase. We're still looking at a $43,000 car. Add the taxes to that. Now you're looking at a $45,000, $46,000, $47,000 car because it's about $2,000 to $3,000 of taxes in New York State. So you got to really think. Oh, a C7 S6 in that generation. Okay, gotcha. My mistake. I don't really want to do a four-door big body car like that. In my opinion, it's just like, that's just not really what I'm about. I really like fun cars. And I'm not saying that car wouldn't be a fun car. What does an L450 kit have over the 4? That's a good question. Pretty much is even a bigger, better turbine. It still uses an IS-38 housing, so it's still fit perfectly fine. However, it does have better turbine. It have better turbines in it to even get more boost and more power into the engine efficiently. I will be updating the charge pipes in the car, especially. That's another thing that I have not done on this channel yet. Now a very good reason to, because the engine will literally be out of the car. Eastwood Racing, Brian, pretty much I explained what happened with the car in a long shell. It ended up to be crank walk. Pretty much blew the it damaged the thrust bearing. The thrust bearing gave out, and pretty much that ended up, you know, resulting in a lost engine. I did announce that I'm going to be rebuilding the engine with the IE short block from Integrated Engineering. So things of that nature. And okay, and I'm gonna ask a couple more questions before getting off. Kiana, what's up? So that's pretty much what happened, Kiana. Blown engine. And pretty much when this goes live, I mean, once this goes public, you know, like just a regular video, then you'll be able to see the full story of what happened. But the last question I'm going to answer today is, yes, my car is lowered in New York. Bro, you're low. This is from Mr. Rilla Dutch. Bro, your car's lower, right? I live on Long Island and don't drive much. People say I shouldn't lower it. I think they're just haters. I lowered my car. My car doesn't hit the bottom of the car at all. I don't have any problems with scraping or anything like that. So, I mean, what I would do though is if you do go low, just to save yourself precaution, our GTIs come standard with a composite oil pan. If you go lower, just switch it to a metal oil pan. It just saves you a crap load of trouble. I'm not revealing how much this build is going to cost because two reasons. One, I want to save that for the build series. And two, I haven't even figured out all the parts yet for it. Excuse me. So, um, um, yes, the pretty much the build would be of high quality and everything else. But we're at the 60-minute mark, guys. Like I said, I love the support. I love the enthusiasm. Thank you guys so much for supporting me up to this point. And you know, I love all of you guys to death. You guys have been a major supporter of this platform. Um, and you know, we're definitely going to go above and beyond with this build so we can have a beautiful platform and Project Mark 7 can last another lifetime. That's that, you know, even much way much longer than it did before. And you know, just put regular miles on it now and really have a nicely built engine for this platform. So guys, if you do want to see this build series, if you do want to see what this engine is going to look like, if you want to see the teardown, everything that's going to happen with a full rebuild of a 2.0 TSI E8 888 engine Gen 3, um, please go ahead, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure that you do like, share, and subscribe to JR14. And remember, with Project Mark 7s like mine that have blown engines, and now we're going to do a full rebuild, you always remember that cars are a lifestyle. Good night.